About 3 years ago, a family was enjoying a beautiful Northwest Florida day on the water when tragedy struck. A lady was thrown from the boat, and before her husband could shut the engine down, she was struck by the propeller across her abdomen. She subsequently died from her injuries in the water in front of her children and husband. Today, I would like to prevent something like this from happening to you. My name is Captain Charles Stone. I'm a licensed Coast Guard captain. I've owned my own fishing business for the past 2 years, and I have over 20 years of boating experience. I'm going to talk to you about boater safety. I'm going to draw upon my own personal experiences and information I read on boatus.org and uscoastguardboating.org. My topics are going to be personal safety equipment, the online safety course, and alcohol and boating. I'd like to get started by talking about personal safety equipment. This is your PFD. Your boat will be required to have one of these that is properly sized for each passenger on the boat. You can find the sizing on the inside collar of the jacket. This is an adult size life jacket. They have adult, child, and infant sizes, and some of your recreational vests go to sizes such as small, medium, and large. On this jacket, I went a little bit further and installed a light and a whistle for signaling passing vessels. This is your throwable device, and it's also required on your vessel. It's used to get a flotation, something in flotation to someone that has went overboard without a jacket. It's designed to be easily thrown through the air to the person that's overboard. Another important item is your aerial signaling flare. This is your 12-gauge signaling flare. I have 3 shots, and it's used to signal other boats and airplanes and people on land of your distress. Then you have the handheld flare. This has a little longer burning time, 3 minutes, but it's limited to how far someone can see it because of the curvature of the earth will block this from being seen. I have a signaling mirror. It's used to signal people on land or boats, other boats or airplanes that are flying by. I have a viz panel that can be spread out so that an airplane can see that I'm in distress. I also have a fire extinguisher installed on my boat, which is required. You'll have to go online and put the size of your boat into the chart to determine how many fire extinguishers you need on your boat. I'm only required to have 1 on this vessel. You want to make sure that this is a proper servicing. When it comes time to use it, you want it to work, and you want to make sure you install it in a place that you'll be able to get to it. I probably wouldn't put it near my gas tank or my engine because that's where the fire is going to be, and you won't be able to reach into the fire and grab the fire extinguisher. Another important thing is your first aid kit. You want to have stuff in here to treat everything from a jellyfish bite to a shark bite and anything in between. The worst thing I've ever had to treat was a shark bite. It happened on a boat that I wasn't even on. A friend of mine called me up, and he had been bit by a shark while he was trying to get him off the hook, and so I came over and bandaged him up and got him to safety. I bet he went out and bought a first aid kit after that. The last thing I'd like to talk about is your boat anchor. You may say that, hey, that's not safety equipment, but it is safety equipment. When it becomes a piece of safety equipment, when your boat runs out of gas or your engine stops running and the current starts to pull you further away from land. Some things to consider about the anchor is that you have the proper size. That can be found on the anchor when you buy it. It'll tell you what size boat it's for. You want to put some anchor chain on there to help to aid the anchor in locking down, add some weight to the bottom of the rope. I have 20 feet of chain on my anchor, and you want to have enough rope to the proper length of rope. And you get that by multiplying the depth of the water that you're in by 3 to get the proper length of the rope. So if you're in 50 feet of water, then you multiply by 3, you need 150 foot of rope to anchor up there. Now if you decide to not put chain on your anchor, you're going to have to multiply the depth by 7. So instead of only needing 150 feet of rope, I would now need 350 feet of rope without the chain. Now that we've talked about some personal safety equipment, let's talk about the online boater safety course. USBoats.org offers an online course. At the end of the course, they offer you a test that is required in some states. Some insurance companies require it, and at the very least, you might be able to save some money with your insurance company. They'll give you a discount if you take it. I'll give you an example of it being required. Is I told you earlier that I'm a licensed Coast Guard captain, but however, the city of the District of Columbia doesn't respect that. So when I came up here, I had to take this online boater safety course and carry the certificate with me on the water. Most states require that children of various ages take this online safety course as well before driving a boat. Now I've talked about the online safety course, let's move on and talk about alcohol and boating. You may think that alcohol isn't as dangerous with a boat as it is a car, but I beg to differ. I would say that it's more dangerous. And the reason being is you have the effects of the sun, you have effects of dehydration, you have the wave action. It's all going to intensify the effects of alcohol. Then you combine that with you're doing something that you're not as comfortable with, because most people probably go boating once or twice a month, maybe even once a summer, so they're not comfortable with the way the boat turns, the way the boat stops, and you add that in with all the other people out there that don't have a clue to what they're doing, and you've got a recipe for disaster. Now, as far as the law goes, your states are going to treat BUI, boating under the influence, just like DUI. As far as the level goes, 0.08 being the legal level of intoxication with a boat like it is a car. One exception is they will let you have open containers on your vessel, unlike your vehicle, but that's not the case everywhere you go. You're going to have to check your local laws. I know there's a lake in Virginia that doesn't even allow you to have alcohol on your boat, even if it's in an unopened container. And I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of that because of the accident rates involving alcohol. Now that we've talked about boating and alcohol, let's go ahead and review a little bit. Today we talked about personal safety equipment, we talked about the online boater safety course, and we talked about alcohol and boating. And I hope that you take something out of this brief, and at the very least you go and take a look at that online boater safety course. And let me wish you a good summer on the water. I hope to see you out there, and I hope you make the right decisions to keep your loved ones safe and keep my family safe, because we're going to be out there together. And keep an eye out for that other guy, because I can guarantee you that he's not practicing safe boating practices. Have a good summer. Thanks.